Hello, so in this video, I'm going to share with you how to delegate effectively a process, how to remove yourself from a function of your business without losing control, without regretting it after, and without losing in terms of quality. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first step is to visualize your process. At the moment, your knowledge about how things are done in your business is probably stuck in your head, and you need to put it out of your head and onto paper. So we're not asking you to document everything that you do, but what we want is have an idea of the different stages of this process, and then we're going to document the most critical stages and the stages where you are involved. So how you're going to do it is you're going to start with putting the trigger. So what starts the process, and then you're going to put the end of the process. What ends the process? So typically for a sales process, it will start when a client books a call and end when the money is collected. Then you're going to ask yourself, okay, what happens after that? Okay, and what happens after that? And then what happens after that? So it's very easy. You just put the different stages. You know it. You've done it over and over again. You add the stages until you arrive to the end. Once you have this, you're going to highlight the most critical stages, really the one that you cannot afford to mess up, that the one that have the biggest impact on the end result, right? Because every process adds value, right? This process converts a prospect into clients, so it really creates value. So you need to see where is actually the value created. Where do we transform someone that is interested in working with us into someone that actually is working with us? So you're gonna identify this, and you're gonna start. Yeah, and once you have this, you're gonna be ready to move to stage 2. So step number 2 is to document your processes by building playbooks for the most important stages, or just a stage you want to remove yourself from. So here in our example, we've identified that you want to remove yourself from the call number 2 in your sales process. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a step-by-step guide on how to conduct this conversation so that someone else can do it with at least at 80% as good as you would do it. Let's not aim at 100%. Let's just aim at 80% or 75%. So let's just look at the end result, and then I'm going to show you how to get there as fast as possible. So for me, I've created a link to my knowledge center. So in my knowledge center that is hosted on Notion, I have all my playbooks, so all my processes. Everything I do is documented in some way so that I'm ready to step out. And it's also for me a way to improve how I do things. So I need to write everything down. But here, let's just look at the context discussion. So in a process doc, you're going to have different sections. And the most important section for me is the outcome part. The outcome is, what is this process meant to do, right? So what do you want to get out of this process? So for me here, I spend a lot of time in really thinking about what is the outcome of this call, for example, here. What do I want to happen at the end of this? Right, there's a trigger here, which is the call being scheduled. And then there is something that happens at the end of this call. So I project myself at the end of the process, and I imagine the most ideal scenario. And the reason why it's important as well is because maybe you realize that this part of the process is actually not that important. So you may want to eliminate it. In that case, it is obviously critical. So the outcome, for example, just a few lines you can read, but it's to build trust with the prospect by creating a safe space, by having a deliberate, structured approach. Then there are some more performance-driven outcome, which is to improve the close rates and have a shorter sales cycle. I mix a lot of different outcomes. So how I want the person to feel. I want the buyer to feel very comfortable. I want the buyer to have like an amazing experience in this process, to feel like, wow, that was such an amazing process. Because I've had this experience of being sold, going through a sales process that was so smooth. I felt love, and I really enjoyed being sold. And that's the sort of experience I want people to have, to be really excited when they say a yes. Just like when they buy, when you go shopping and you buy something that you love, like you're really excited. It's a very enjoyable moment. It's not awkward. It's not, you know. So that's my outcome. Then I can write some principles that are not step by step, but just principles to keep in mind. So, for example, this discussion must be conducted with the ultimate decision maker and other things. And then I'll get into the step by step guide. So here you need to think more about a checklist. And yeah, to have like a really structured approach to this process. So I'm not going to go through everything, but here's a mixture of checklist and script of things to say to get to the end. And at the end, I've got a last section, which is continuous process improvement. So here I don't have anything, but I would put ideas of how could I make things better. So every time I go through this process once, I can, take note of something that could be improved, and I would just write it down. So that doesn't mean anything. But yeah, so for example, it could be make it shorter or something like this. And then I would put my resource, because every process, when I build my business, I won't always be leveraging the success of others. I don't want to build from scratch. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. So, for example, this process comes from this book, right? So I bought the book, I read the book, I studied the book, and I created my process really straight out of this book. It's like almost copy pasted, adapted to my situation, but I'm not inventing anything. Like, I'm not stupid. why go through the trial and error? So that's what I do. So now let's go into, okay, so what are the best practices to build your playbooks? So first, you're going to need a knowledge center or a place to store all those playbooks. So I use Notion. There are other tools that are really good, but my recommendation here would be to really keep it as simple as possible, because those tools like Notion and I don't know, there are ClickUps, all those tools that are really fancy and beautiful. They become more and more sophisticated, they have more and more features, they have AI integrated. And while that seems very attractive, they also distract you from the core of the work, and they can complexify everything. With those project management tools, like I don't really love those things, because you start confusing the map and the territory. Like, you start working on Notion when actually that's not the work. That's just it's not meant to be where you spend most of your time. So yeah, I would be cautious with that. So really keep it simple. Start with a Google Doc if you haven't created any playbooks before. Okay, then you're gonna want to have some templates. So for me, I've set this up in Notion. When I create new, I can have a new process.template that creates already all the sections, so that my team can create docs. It stays very simple. Outcome, step-by-step guide, step 1, step 2, step 3, value chain if necessary, and the section I showed before. Then to actually create the document, you can record yourself doing the actual action. So for example, for this call, you're going to record your calls, and then you're going to use AI to actually create the process. So very simple. You just ask for the transcript. So to record yourself and have the transcript, you can do it in Google Meet, in Zoom, or you can use tools like Fathom that are really good. And then you're going to put the transcript into ChatGPT and just ask ChatGPT to create a process doc following your template. Loom now has also something integrated in Loom where you can actually let me show you. You can turn a video into a playbook. How do I do that? Right here. Write a document, Loom AI, and you can write a SOP based on the walkthrough you did with the video. So it's pretty good, but again, I like to keep it simple. You can use that if you want. Another very quick way to do it would be to use ChatGPT on your phone, because on your phone you can talk to ChatGPT. So you're gonna open the ChatGPT app, and then you're gonna make a request by using the voice message, and you're gonna say, okay, hi ChatGPT, I want to create a process doc for this. I'm gonna describe everything I do. And then you're going to structure this document following this format. First, I want the outcome of the process. Then I want the step-by-step guide that you're going to structure in 3 sections. And then you're going to create a section for ideas to continuously improve this process. So here I go. I will start. And then you start describing what you do. So you can have a first document, and then you can start from there and edit it, or just put it like this. But overall, what works well is to describe the process to someone else. So what I would recommend is set up a call with the person that's going to replace you or anyone else. And this person will ask yourself questions to understand exactly how you do things. And then you're going to have AI, you're going to have a transcript of this. So AI will do a summary. And yeah, you should have something pretty good if you use AI and someone else to ask you questions. The other way that I would really consider is manually, because manually you get to actually design the process and redesign the process. So I like to do it manually because building systems and processes is what I love. But I understand not everyone loves to break things down. I really enjoy this process of thinking through the process and building it like I do, and I recommend it because that's how you can redesign it and really think it through. And maybe you're gonna see things that you want to remove. So that's it. A few tips to document your processes. Now that you have your process documented, you don't need to do it anymore. You can hand it over to someone else. So what I'm going to show you is a tool to make this official, so that there is clear expectation that this person is now accountable for this step. So the tool we're going to use is called an accountability table. I call it just who does what. And on this table, you're not going to put all the activity that everybody is doing, but only the critical activities. When we mapped out our processes, we've identified a few stages that are very important not to mess up, and that create the most value. And those are the stages that you want to put here. And if you want to remove yourself from the day-to-day execution, what you're going to have to do is wherever your name is. So for example, here, for the example, I put Alexi, and I put the context discussion, which is the process, the playbook that we wanted to hand over. We created a playbook, and now all I'm going to have to do is just find someone that could do it, that has the capacity to do it, and that has the skills as well to do it, and hand it over to this person. So on this tool, I'm just going to move the line to the person. Then what you're going to have to effectively do is you're going to connect with this person, train the person, ensure they have everything they need, maybe shadow a few sessions, and then you're going to stay sort of in control of this process by moving to optimization. So you're going to review the results of the process, and how does handing over this process impacted the overall results. So once you've done all of this, well done, you've done it, and you've done it properly. You didn't just get rid of something you don't want to do anymore. You handed it over strategically to someone that's going to be able to do it and allow you to regain some time to focus on higher leverage activities, on, I don't know, meeting up with strategic partners, and all those things that you didn't have the time or the mental space to focus on. So now I just want to give you a bit of context on the bigger picture, because that may seem like a lot of work for one piece of the process, but that really is so critical for you to scale your business and to build the life that you want and the business that you want by scaling really exponentially. So let's just look at the bigger picture for a second. So what are we really trying to achieve here? What is the big picture? We want to migrate from having a business that is dependent on the founder to having a business that is scalable and sellable. So this business is an entity that is fully autonomous. And to get there, we're going to have to go through 3 stages. The first stage is to automate, systemize, and then for the founder to exit the day-to-day execution, which is what we just went through, with value stream mapping, documenting your process, and accountability chart. So we went through those first 3 stages. Then you're going to have to automate, systemize the optimization, right? So everything that you do to make the execution better. So optimization, innovation. And then finally, automate the decision making, which is really about building a leadership infrastructure where the business is driven no longer by the founder who's making all the decision, but by a leadership team that can make even better decision because they are in the trenches, but also because they have the same values and because they have guidelines on how to make decisions, because there is a vision, there is a map, because we know where we're going ultimately. So you don't need to be there all the time to make the right decision. So that's the infrastructure we're trying to build. And once you have this, so your business is going to look completely different and is really going to become sellable, scalable. And you as a founder, you get to focus on what you want to do. It doesn't mean that you don't work anymore in the business. It means that you get to do what you want to do. So if what you want to do is serve the clients, then go and serve the clients. It's your business. You do whatever you want. But if it's not what you want to do, then maybe you want to focus your time on something else. But at least you have the option because the system is not dependent on you. Today, I wanted to give you all the tools that you need to extract yourself from the day-to-day. But now that you've seen the bigger picture, if you're interested in making a quantum leap and going through this in a couple of months instead of years, then I invite you to schedule a call with me so that we can look at your situation and look at what is the gap that we need to close and how quickly and efficiently we can make this happen. If you're not at this stage yet, I'm happy to send you all those templates and tools so that you can do this by yourself. And when you're ready for it, get someone else involved so that you can really focus on what you like doing best. If structuring, building processes is not your forte, then it's important to recognize it because otherwise it's going to drag your energy down. So get someone else involved, whether it's me or someone else, so that you can do this and get to the other side where you have more freedom and you have a scalable business. Thank you.